If you play DBD or engage with the community long enough, you may encounter some angry and/or unnecessarily rude players. And if you are indeed a human being, it just might upset you a little. So today's video is a quick and somewhat silly discussion about how to deal with rude players. So let's talk about it. So before we begin, I would like to ask you to take a few seconds and like, comment, and/or subscribe if you do enjoy the video. It's a free way to show support and I would greatly appreciate it. For some reason, my last 4 videos have been basically invisible to you guys, so showing your support if you're new to the channel would greatly help out a lot, and I really appreciate it, and hopefully you'll decide to stay a while. Alright, so if you've seen my other videos covering toxic behaviors in the game, you may be asking yourself how this topic is any different. Well, those videos were mainly focused more on whether or not a specific in-game action can be perceived as toxic. Things like, teabagging, clicking, and tunneling, and things of that nature. Aside from the in-game chat, which we'll get to in this video as well. Whereas today's video goes over what I personally feel is an adequate way to respond to the nonsense, so you don't get your blood pressure up over a video game, I know this goes without saying, but these are all personal opinions, of course, and none of this should be taken too seriously, right? Alright, so I want to come right out and say that the community as a whole is way more positive and unified than it is negative and divisive. We all know this is a very big community filled with tons of different people from different backgrounds, and I love that about it. I love that this is a safe space for a lot of people, and I love the unity and diversity that this game has brought, into the gaming community. And so I love that about this game. So I just want to start off by saying that I feel like there's way more positive than there is negative. I just want to make that very clear. I mean, you could play, at least speaking from my experience, I could play like 20 games in a row and may only have a mean in-game chat once or twice. And now I know with that, you may be thinking about DBD Twitter. And with that, I would like to ask you this. How often do you leave a positive review for something that you really enjoyed? Probably not very often, right? But when you have a grievance with something, you really can't wait to fill out a survey or leave a review. So of course there's, never 100% of anything, but I strongly feel that that's kind of the reason why Twitter can seem, at least DBD Twitter can really seem kind of angry amongst the community, because I think it's mostly the angry ones that take the time to say they're angry, but a lot of times, some of us who really love what's going on, we just won't comment at all. We'll just like the video or like the post and keep it moving. So that's kind of my thoughts on the darker parts of DBD Twitter, and I can speak for myself as well. I know that I don't really comment on a lot of things, period. I do try, if I do comment, I'm only gonna comment something positive to either uplift the creator or just kind of, share a bond with some people in the comment section. I'm never gonna say anything negative, I'm just not that kind of guy, period. But I never want to do that to another creator, or I just feel like it takes more time for me to type out how I'm mad about something than it does to me to just be like, oh, that's kind of dumb, and keep it moving. I would much rather spend my energy telling you that I think you did a great job on whatever it is that you said or did than spending energy on saying, oh, you should feel bad about yourself. That's just not the way I roll. Not trying to throw shade on anybody, but that's just not me, and I think that's a lot of people. So I think that's why DBD Twitter can kind of seem like that. I think a lot of people, when we do say something negative, it's just the ones who wanted to say something negative, but the people who, on the same topic, thought it was great, just won't say anything. They'll just like it and keep it moving. Now, of course, you will see, it's never, like I said, it's never 100% of anything, so you will see some people saying something positive, but I think if you feel like it's a little more negative than not, I am saying that I believe that is why. Alright, so let's get into our topics of the day. So speaking of in-game chat, let's talk about that. Now, we all know we have had that happen where, we play a match, if you're playing as killer or survivor, and you get to that in-game chat and it's just someone being super mean for no reason, and just, whether it's name calling, racial slurs, or taking it a step further than that and, telling people to off themselves and everything. I feel that's totally unacceptable behavior. But the thing that I do, and I'm just, obviously, all of these things are going to be things that I personally do, obviously. You can obviously do whatever it is you want. I'm not suggesting you do or don't do something. This is just what I typically do, or what I always do in all of these situations. So the first one, and this is going to be a common theme for the rest of this short video, is I will ignore you. If I get to that in-game chat, there's almost, now I used to, every now and then I may respond, because sometimes you just feel like people are being just too disrespectful and you feel like, oh, I have to say something to you. No, not anymore, because I feel like I have personally learned something. You could have a great match and someone could just be mad that they lost. That person is going to take the time to just say whatever to get under your skin. And in that, they're going to say things that don't make any sense. Like, say you hook someone first and you don't hook them again until you hook them 2 more times, like at the end of the match, when there's like 1 gen left and you might have lost track of somebody. Make a long story short, you're not tunneling them. You just aren't. But they get to that in-game chat and they can't wait to say you tunneled them and you're a terrible player and everything. I ignore you, because I know that you're just mad and you're just upset that you lost. And I think with that, when you do respond, at least and again, this is from experience, I have found that when I do respond, it's never gonna be like what you would want it to be. It's never gonna be something like, really? I hooked you once at the beginning of the match, and then at the end of the match, I wasn't even thinking about you. It's never gonna be, you're never gonna say that, and then they're gonna be like, you know what, man? I'm sorry, I was just upset. No, they're gonna double down and say something stupid like you should harm yourself, or you're a terrible player when you may not be, or all of those sorts of things that just are just mean comments, right? That's what's gonna happen. It's never gonna be a, you know what, I'm sorry, I was just angry. You're not gonna get that. You know, in a perfect world, maybe, but in-game chat, in that scenario, no, that's not gonna happen. So I say to myself, I'm not even gonna spend the energy on that. You say something negative, I'm just hitting continue. That's it. The only thing I say, now I do speak in the in-game chat, but that's only if I know I'm speaking to people who are just regular players who just wanted to have a good time. I'll give a GG's. Oh, you're really good at this palette. You're a really good survivor. Oh, you did a great job. Good luck in your next match. I will certainly do that, because that goes back into what I said. When I speak to people online in an online space on the internet, I only want to say something positive to you. You know, I don't want you to feel bad. I want you to have a good time. That's what I'm going to do. In that situation, I'm hitting continue and I'm loading up my next match, because I'm not going to spend my energy on that, because like I said, I've done it a couple of times in the past, some like a long time ago, and I realized just that no matter what you say, you can hit them with all sorts of logic. You know, it can be whatever the situation. It doesn't matter how right you are. The person who wants to engage in a verbal sparring session with you is not going to use logic a lot of the time. So they're willing to say whatever, because at that point they're just mad. They just want to upset you. They want to bring you down to where they are. So first off, starting with in-game chat, and it's probably going to be this way for the rest of these topics, is ignore. Don't spend your time. Don't let them bring you down. Get on to your next match, and you probably won, so pat yourself on the back. All right, and then the next one is just briefly speaking about Twitter. I'm going to say the same thing. Ignore. There are several times where I may post or say something, post something fun or funny on Twitter. There's always going to be someone who wants to say something angry. A lot of times you may have someone chime in, like say you asked a question about something. You know, you'll have someone chime in and not answer your question, but will like try and like be mean to you. Like in that case, it's the same thing. It's like, well, you didn't even answer the question. You just wanted to be mean, you know? So definitely ignore. If you're having a good time and you're posting something that you think is funny, as long as you're not posting anything mean yourself, of course, and you're, because we don't want to be hypocritical, but if you're just, posting funny DBD comment or some funny clips that you made of your gameplay, yeah, there may be some people who's like, oh, you suck, oh, da-da-da. I will only respond, and again, if you get 10 comments, it'll be 1 or 2 of those of somebody angry. So again, it's not the majority. It is definitely the minority, at least I've found. I'll respond to all the positive ones, and we'll have a good conversation. We'll have a good back and forth and everything, have a good time. But the negative ones, I'm going to skip right over reading yours. I'm going to read it, skip right over it, and I may say it to myself. I may go, that's dumb. But I'm not going to give you that energy. I'm not going to give you that time, skipping right over it. So anything on Twitter, anything on the internet space, whether it's, because you can get into a stupid fight in a comment section really quickly. Once again, like I said with the EGC, I'm going to ignore. I'm going to talk to my other friends who are also positive and just regular players for that matter, and we're gonna have a good time, and the mean ones are getting ignored. Now we also have the bully squads. You have the squads who just do the head on and the flashbang, where they'll both like jump into a locker, and as soon as you open one, the other one jumps out head on, so that you drop the survivor and then they drop a flashbang. and then, you know, you don't know where anybody went, and then you go to the other locker and they repeat that and they keep doing that thing over and over. The good thing about this is that means you have 2 survivors who are not doing gens. The one thing I can say as a killer is if you're lucky enough to be in chase when it happens, as soon as you see one jump into the locker, go ahead and grab them out. Because, you know, I don't remember the actual time for that head-on perk, but I know it's not immediate. You don't get it as soon as you jump into that locker. So the quicker you can go ahead and grab one of those survivors out of the locker, the better your chances of not being getting the head-on stun from the other survivor. Now, that still leaves the question about them dropping that flashbang. The thing about that is, some of you are going to dislike this. I've made another video about Lightborn. I am an advocate for Lightborn. There is almost no build that I run where I don't have it. That's my hill, that's my thing. I love that perk. Say what you like. It is very, very useful in a lot of situations. Like I say, you play the game the way you want, and I like to run Lightborn. So in that case, that just isn't happening to me. If I'm lucky enough to be chasing you and right behind you when you jumped into that locker, and your friend just jumped into the locker, I'm gonna quickly grab you out, and you're not gonna get the flashbang because I have Lightborn. Now, if you don't have Lightborn, you may just have to eat that one and just leave that situation, because best case scenario, at least you know you got 2 people who are not doing gens. Maybe just kind of hang around, wait to see both of them leave, and then get back on them so that they gotta redo that head-on timer type of deal. At least I think that's the way that works. So that's my advice for that. So in some ways, you could say you could ignore that one as well. Anyway, guys, that's gonna do it for this one. I just wanted to jump on and have a little fun with you know, and just talk to you guys. I know it's for some of you, this may be your first video of mine that you've seen in a while, because as I said, for some reason my last 4 videos just, I don't know, they've just been invisible to you guys, and I hate that. So I'm gonna keep it moving. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Like I said in the beginning, very much so a safe space for everyone as long as you want to be here. We try and keep it positive. And yeah, the word for today is don't be afraid to ignore someone. You know, they say about turning the other cheek. There is nothing wrong with doing that. And in fact, you will find, at least I find, that I keep my sanity a lot more times than not. Now, with all this said, sometimes you just got to respond to somebody. You know, sometimes people are just being super disrespectful and they get under your skin, and we're all human. You know, I've done it before. I'm just here to say that you feel a whole lot better, at least I do, when I ignore. Because then I know that we didn't do this stupid back and forth that you know is coming, because it's never going to be a, you know what, I'm sorry, I was wrong. You're never going to get that. It's just going to be a stupid back and forth on the internet with someone you don't know, you know, and you're going to leave that situation feeling like you just could have avoided it anyway, you know. Now, again, you know, some people, everybody's not the same. You know, some people are like, no, I have to respond. I have to let you know why you're stupid. And that's cool too. I think that's the beauty of just diversity in itself, right? I mean, everyone's not the same. You got to have some people who are like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to tell you why you're dumb. And I commend you. You know, we got to have someone, you know, you got to have that balance of people that are like, some that are like, you know what, I'm going to ignore you. I'm going to ignore you. And then some are like, no, I can't let that slide. Let me tell you why you're dumb. It's all good either way. I say let's just, you know, try and keep it positive and just have a good time, because at the end of the day, Dead by Daylight is a video game. It's a video game that we love and we've played for what feels like forever right about now, but it's a video game. And I would really think that the developers intended on it being just that, a fun video game where we all can kind of play with our friends from time to time and enjoy each other. So with that, guys, I appreciate each and every one of you. As I always say, stay safe, and I will see you in the fog.